Oh, it's been said a bard's life can often be a hard life, or hill and dale to rove and always move from town to town. And some folk have inquired if ever we grow tired of ranging all around the world and never settling down.
But one should be a little wary of remaining stationary, 'cause comfortable is lovely, but it's not the way we grow. When life starts to unravel, pick up your pack and travel. You'll find a strange serenity in places you don't know. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-too-da-terry-o-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. You've got no map for showing which direction you are going.
But why start on a journey if you know where it will end?
And once you recognize,
to anticipate surprise, you'll relish every twist and turn that lies around the bend. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-too-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road.
the world has got its demons. There are many reasons why you'd find it harder to be brave than be afraid.
But every life could use some danger. Every friend was once a stranger. Ships are safe in harbor, but that's not why ships are made.
Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-too-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee. A fweet-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Adventures waiting further down the road.
Let's go!
Pew, 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 pew. We're doing the thing. Welcome all. Wow. We finally made it. Nobody really technically knows what we're doing here. So yeah, it's absolutely the KAOS episode of AMA.
Making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
Like usual.
Exactly. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Yes. Oh, pew, pew. That's very funny, Gabe. I assure you, they were just for show. It was, I even had the safety on, went my pew, 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 pew. Yeah, I'm a responsible pew. Oh my gosh.
Should
How
we
you
use
doing,
it pure?
How's it going?
It's actually going pretty good. It's been a little rough week, but I'm doing good today, and I always like spending time with you guys. So
You guys, it's really
you
good.
guys is
It's me and all the people.
And all the people in my head.
Yeah. You're not alone. I decided today was caftan day because I haven't worn a caftan all summer.
And I love caftans. They are an underutilized clothing item in my life. I love them.
Oh, so yeah, I'm still.
I'm ready to be like in my 70s and wearing caftans like on the lanai.
Oh, yes, all the things. Yes, and I have quite a selection of caftans that I wear. When I was in the hospital, whatever, 2 weeks ago, I had packed like 3 or 4 different caftans, but with all the fucking things that are.
Oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how I would get this thing
even on.
Yeah.
There's so I, because of my health stuff, I'm in some forums where people kind of share like ideas and stuff, and one of the things that goes around a lot is a hoodie that this part unzips so that when you have when you have your some people have to get like iron infusions and whatever, or you're just hooked up because you're in the ER or the hospital again. And it was like, I love cozy stuff.
All right, I think we should just start a new Discord channel for like to share your caftan.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a photo shoot a few years ago, pre-COVID, and actually COVID kind of did put a kibosh on that. We were gonna go get a room at the Poconos, and they still have hotels that are like Honeymoon Haven Poconos hotels in Pennsylvania.
Like it's still the 40s. Please be decorated like it's a 40s.
And it still is. It's the kitsch and the camp galore. And I had a whole like group of women all queued up, and it was going to be the Cougars in Caftans photo shoot. And I wanted to make a whole calendar. And I had like 5 I was like, if you do not have a caftan, one will be provided for you. Just simply list your colors and patterns.
I love this idea. So we actually ended up, my husband's family lives out in California. And so every year in winter, we have all loaded up in the car and we actually drive out there and we take different paths and we try to see different things whenever we can, when we have favorite stops. But this one time we ended up it's like in the middle of, do you remember what it was? It's like the middle of nowhere, but it was a golf resort that literally had its heyday in the 30s and 40s. And they clearly had not had the money to update a lot of it. And so it was like all that, the kitsch and the glamour, but falling apart. And I kind of loved it.
It is beautiful, and there is just something to be said for it. The place we were looking at in the Poconos literally had the champagne glass bathtub.
Oh,
yeah. So, and I was like, how is that even possible? So what it is you go up these little stairs, and there's like the bathtub's like a second story,
right?
And then it's like a plexiglass semicircle. Well, it's like a full circle.
Right.
But it's like half of it's like sticking out like a
right.
But the other half there. But the platform's there. And then the stem is just kind of on a mirror background. Yeah. So it looks like it's floating. I was like, oh, photo shoots. And I bet they get a lot of photo shoots at this place. So Google hotels in the Poconos. I don't remember which one we were going to do, but if you are on the East Coast, mid-Atlantic, it is not unreasonable. I'm sure they have like some kind of kitsch like that in Texas.
We have a different kind of kitsch.
Yeah, you do.
We have like
bang
cowboy kitsch. Mm-hmm. It's like different kind of kitsch, but it all kind of, I think, ties into that because we have a lot of like trains that have been converted into like Airbnb type stuff. Yeah. And like teepees and
that's awful.
and like stuff like that. So it's all kind of it's kitsch, but a little like Wild West. Just weird.
Thank you, Reverend Tommy. I was just doing Hail Mary. I had just started to hit you up. Ooh. That is an excellent question. Excellent question. Can you see the question, Z?
I can't. Let me see.
It says from Gabe, what is the most successful chaos you have ever prosecuted or upon an unsuspecting victim?
Okay, so being a Ren Fair performer and also a student of history, I taught our cast a dance that's known as a brawl. It's spelled Bramsel for anybody who's like interested
I know it.
in learning them, right?
I know that.
And so I taught the Maltese brawl is like a great one. It's they're all simple to learn, but it's like uber simple. And so I was like, I think it's a thing that we should learn as a group, and then we can do it. And it's a thing we can invite patrons to do because it's super easy to learn and very fun. And at the end of our show, so our final show goes, and then we basically have like an hour till final canon, and we're kind of just in the lanes, but we're also really punch drunk by that time because we've been like working for 10 hours. So some of me and my castmates were going around, and what we were doing is we would just yell Maltesers, and then surround one person and Maltese one very, very fast refrain, and then scatter and yell hide, and then hide poorly. And we had so much fun doing that. It started to become a shtick, but nobody knew what was happening to them, like start to finish, had any idea. It was fun.
That's like flash mob right there.
It really is.
I have an answer, but I'm almost reluctant to say.
Oh no.
And now I would never do this now. I'll just preface with that.
Okay.
This was my very first Penzic.
Okay.
Which is a, 10,000 strong medieval event, living history kind of thing.
Yep.
And you were such an enabler, Gabe. By round of comments, I am sure you all who are Ren Fair fans have heard the song about the sleeping Scotsman.
Yes. Did you ever reenact it?
Oh, at Penzic, there were two marketplaces, like the upper market and the lower market, and there's a path that kind of connected the two. And a lot of the times it was called like Urchin's Row, and it's where people would set up little blankets, and like kids would sit there and sing, and we would busk there, and you peddled things on a blanket or whatever. But it was usually not crowded, and we were walking there, and there was a guy in a kilt, redhead, beautiful boy, man, very man, and he was asleep. And we sat there, we were busking, and I was hanging out with the kids, and they had a bunch of ribbons, and they were braiding ribbons and selling little bracelets that they were making.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sitting there watching this guy sleep. I'm like, no. He was out cold. We sat there for 30 minutes, maybe even 45. Out.
Oh, just out, yeah.
Oblivious, like the soundest of sleepers, like, because this is, people are walking back and forth, the kids are singing and laughing, and finally I go to
toddler asleep, the kind of
just like
out
drool coming out of his mouth and everything. Finally, I grabbed one of the blue ribbons from the girl making she was a teenager, making bracelets, and I was like, can I have one of the blue ones? And she's like, yeah. And it was a ribbon like like this, not like a big honking ribbon.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the ribbon and I made like a little lasso with a slip knot. And we casually lifted the thing up, and I didn't want to touch anything. And I got it up in there and kind of like tightened it a little bit there. Okay. And then left the little end of the string dangling, put the kilt back, and then we went back to the thing, and he's still asleep. But I think the breeze started to stir the situation. And by situation, I mean the situation.
Right.
And things started to occur. Blood started to flow. He woke up. He woke up very groggy. And he's like, the other thing we did was we put some coins, some medieval coins on his chest. And he sits up and the coin falls off his chest into his lap. And he picks it up and he looks around, and we are all like, get your bracelets. Get some bracelets made for custom collars. And we were definitely not making eye contact with this guy that's just been sleeping for 45 minutes to an hour. He has this coin. He's looking around trying to figure out what's going on. He looks down and sees this blue ribbon dangling from the bottom of his kilt. And he pulls it really hard. He almost died.
Oh, God.
No, he didn't almost like literally die. He was like, because that's when he discovered what the other end of the ribbon was attached to. And just that moment, one of his coworkers, because he worked at one of the markets, this really happened, shows up and like, hey, whatever your name is, Mick Scott dude, it's time to go back, your break is over. And they take him back to the shop, and he starts like, I don't know what happened. Something happened. And he's like, as he's walking away, he starts to tell the story to his coworker. Anyway, so that happened. And then we were shopping around, and we walk in to a shop, and it turns out that that's the shop where the guy worked. And his boss comes up and he goes, were you one of those people that tied the blue ribbon around my coworker's thing? And I was like, yes, it was me. And he goes, I hear you got pictures. So what happened? I'm going to see if I can find the pictures, to be perfectly honest. I still have them digitally. So what do you think? Chaos enough for you?
That's a lot.
That was a lot. That was a lot. So that happened.
We had like actually like 2 questions, right?
Okay.
That we like were sent to us. Did we get those? I have to look.
They are in our chat thing.
Yeah, they're in the chat. Which here we go. Okay.
It's definitely a chaos night, that's for sure.
We're all over the place.
Ooh, that is a good question. How do you come up with your chaos aligned characters? And that's from Evelyn Evermore. Are you on the stream? I haven't seen you chat. Yeah. Actually, Gabe, to follow up, I just saw your question. Everyone was okay with it, and when I say I wouldn't do it now,
we have learned as a community not to do these things.
Consent.
So chaos aligned characters, like, when we create our character concepts, like, are we purposefully saying that we are aligned with KAOS? Because I don't know that I've ever done that.
Well, all right, let's talk about that. So Loon is definitely a child of chaos because she is nature. She is a thing of nature. So nature is neither good nor evil.
Right.
Like a thing will eat another thing and not feel bad about it.
Right.
Because life, death, circle. Is there any worthy alignment? You asked.
Right. And she just has no desire to like buy into the things that are prescribed by those who like live in towns and cities. Like they just have no meaning to her.
Yeah.
And I think if you live in a town or a city, you're one of those people, then somebody who is like Loon reads as chaotic. But are you really chaotic when you're in nature? I mean, I'm going to say your character a little bit. But.
No. Questions are good. Questions help formulate answers.
I know. So I'm like,
she. Do I intentionally? I like the random thing that comes out of going in a direction that you don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I want to be surprised as a player too.
Right.
And so I had a character, the original, very first map ever created was for a LARP. And yeah, nature is definitely a true neutral. But this character, Mab, had no concept of possession.
Okay. Oh, like a Kinder. Like just
very much like a Kinder, but she didn't understand country borders.
Yeah.
She couldn't understand when you said to her, you're like, well, you're an invader in my country. And she's like, you can't.
Right. There wasn't a fence.
Own a whole country. This doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Or somebody dropped something. She picked it up and found it. And the person was like, that's mine. And she's like, I'm the one holding it. Like, and people would either like laugh or get angry with her. But yeah, like a Kender, that's definitely a little chaos. But I like seeing where throwing the DM for a loop too.
Get to goes. I don't know that I like purposely. Yeah, I might argue with myself when it comes to like Gemma, because Gemma absolutely is chaos, but it's not like she means to be, right? It's not
Gemma Peel.
Right?
There's some malice in her, actually.
A snatchy. Right? But when I conceptualized her, like, yeah, that was something I wanted, is that she's what would seem like just off to people. Like she just doesn't play well within the confines of our agreed upon societal norms, right?
Right. Having a what is it? Unspoken consensus.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that is like OG Mab, is this idea that like I just don't understand, those things have no meaning to me. And so like, but within my own mind, right, there is an order. There is something that I'm doing. There's something that motivates me. It's just not what most people would consider okay, right? And then I think like Naiven wants order, right? Naiven wants things to make sense, and she wants to have control over stuff, but there is an innate part of her that just is not. And I think that kind of character is really interesting, because you get to with the DM kind of hop the line between like controlled and chaos. And
she had wild magic, is that correct?
Yeah, for people who don't know Naiven, yeah, she's mad powerful, but she has it's wild magic, and it's innate in her. So she, like, it's not like a thing that she's tapped into. It's tapped into her.
Right.
But I agree. I like, I mean, I've had characters that are a lot more prescribed, boxed and whatever. But I have enjoyed the characters and in the situations where I don't know what's coming. That's part of the fun. And plus, like, it's a safe place to have that loss of control is in a game. You know?
Right.
So,
And like I said, let's keep that GM guessing.
yeah.
and I like to come up with solutions and stuff that he hadn't even conceived of yet.
We had a game, the LARP that we just had this weekend. We had a moment like that. We had 4 absolute non-fighters end up in a fight with it was a troll. I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, it was like literally no one has weapons. Like, that would be like described as a weapon. And but one of the people with us was like a pack rat and had just carried a bag of random ass shit. And I was like, what is the likelihood you have a giant ball of twine? And I was like, right. And we were like, all right, then the best thing we've got is I've got this end, you've got this end, and we treat it like an ad. And the GM was just like, wait, hold on, because I have to figure out what that attack is.
Right. Paul's so good. He rolls with us.
Yes, it's very good, and is like, oh, okay, new insanity.
Like Kitty KAOS
is
right there in the name.
It's in the name. It's on the tin.
So Gabe says, I'm playing a level 5 wild magic sorcerer, Celadrin, for forthcoming one-shot with Jack. That's awesome.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And you need expert guidance and inspiration for the most chaotic arc possible. All right, so. Ooh. All right, pictures in the Discord. Look at that. All right, let me see if I can share my screen.
Oh, nice.
I can share the screen, although you can also go to the Discord.
Yeah, I can also I can get to. That's cool. All right, so looking for guidance on a on KAOS. There we go. Yeah.
All right.
This reminds me of one of the very earliest photos I have of us. It's us picking out from around the picture.
So fire, I don't know. Like, I don't know that much about wild magic, but so I can't speak to that. What can you tell me? What's the deal with wild magic? Anytime you cast a spell, you roll a dice and
right, and it's right. So it works different with not even, but if it were working like it usually do, yeah, there's the % chance that your magic goes haywire, and then there's a wild magic surge table, and so you're rolling on that to see what happens, and that has prescribed outcomes. So you roll this number, this is the outcome. Which I always say, these are guidelines, right? Like, right. And so that's like between you and the DM. Like, if you want something wacky to happen, which with not even, it was that she often turned into a moop. Like, that's up to you. You can change that however you want. I think like chaotic stuff in storylines works really well when you have something that is kind of like through the looking glass or down the rabbit hole, where you're going into a world that is not like yours and so is very unexpected, and especially if you pop back and forth between a world that you understand and a world where the rules are not quite what you expect, because it forces you to start thinking laterally and thinking differently and then reacting differently. And that's where kind of a lot of the chaotic comes in, if that makes sense. So personally, I like stuff like that where you're entering
Right.
other
And
worlds, or
kind of
yeah.
build on that too is chaos is definitely an exercise of creative thinking.
Mhm.
Ask yourself, this is the kind of thing we had to do in acting class and in art class.
Mhm.
You say, what is the most obvious response to this situation? And just kind of practice it in your head. You don't need to actually be gaming. You go like, I am going to the store and I open the thing to see sodas. And the most obvious reaction is I see the soda I want and I buy it, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, if I was a juggler, I could pull them out and I could juggle them and then put them back and grab the unshaken one. Chaos! Stupid jugglers. So, like ask yourself what's the path of least resistance. Oh, if you watch Steven Universe, I just saw this episode where Steven's hanging out with Garnet, who has future vision, and she can't figure out what he's doing with his life because her future vision, he sees him as a kid. Anyways, she keeps trying to do the thing that's the most random thing ever. Like, that was a great episode if you want to study chaos theory.
Yeah.
So what do we got, Reverend Tommy? Here's a question in regard to character chaos. What are your thoughts on evolution of a character for when your plans are for it to be and act a certain way, and then because of divine influences, and then things become more chaotic and blah blah blah? I absolutely know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that is, you evolve that character.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of all preconceived notions. And this goes for you too, Gabe. Chuck those little preconceived notions, junk them, get them out the window. Every character, I have like these ideas of what I would like them to do. And then I get in and there's 3 to 5 other players.
Right.
They are not privy to my
and now it's
plans.
Pachinko character development.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think of like in my head, like Beska was going to be like much more sulky, like much more kind of teenagery than she ended up. And I mean, part of that was just
I love Beska.
and she ended up being, I mean, a lot of people's favorite character, because she went a direction I wasn't intending her to go. It's the hair buns. But yeah, because of kind of our moods and kind of the way the story was going, it took her someplace completely different.
Environmental factors, and that's exactly
I like to think of it. I actually was talking about this in therapy the other day. And this is this idea that people think when they think of evolution, they think of it as a progression towards something better, which is a misconception. Scientifically, absolutely not the case. And so metaphorically apply this how you want, right? So evolution is just each member of a generation, their genetic code, trying something different to see if it makes living in a certain environment any better, right? But that switch flipping is kind of random, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most stuff, it's a wash, right? Like it just doesn't matter, doesn't benefit or detract, right? And then every once in a while, like something clicks and it's like, oh, this works better for this environment. But as soon as that environment changes for whatever reason, right? Climate changes, there's a pests take out most of the trees or whatever. Then you have to change again. So you're not really changing to be better. You're just changing for the moment, right? And so I think of that like in like my personal development, but in my character development too, because I think it's so easy to like start a character, but in your head you picture them at Gandalf level, right?
Do I know?
Right, but it's really bad to think of what their final form is going to be, right? So like don't think of powerful characters. Don't try to think about how you're going to don't already be thinking of what you're going to take at 3rd level and if you're going to take a feat at 4th. Like don't plan. Come up with a concept that you like that's seems like something you want to play, and then leave it in the hands of fate to see how you change. Because then the game is like it can be a whammy to you too, and it doesn't feel like, oh, it's the prescribed steps that I'm going to have to start as Harry Potter in the closet but end up a Gandalf.
Exactly. So start with a story.
Mm-hmm.
Start with a story, not a plan.
Start with a story, not a plan. I like that. And not a story of where you're going, just the story of where you have been and where you are at the moment.
Thanks for dropping in, Gabe. I'm glad we're recording it, so you can definitely come back later.
You come back and listen to us babble. I was thinking, like with Gemma, like the whole concept I had, the whole thing was, as a child, she encountered fairies. They stole her name and told her to go have experiences that they could feed on. And in going off to do that, she's been a performer, like a circus performer, sideshow performer, like what. And that's it. That was all I had when I came to the table. I think when you get too complicated, when you write like 8 pages of backstory, you lock yourself in a little too much.
Oh yeah.
Like make it up. I want to end the I want somebody to be like, how many siblings do you have? And it's kind of like hot seat. I want to find out in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like for what was her name? Nobody. She was straight up blank slate. And Paul had an idea. He had more idea about that character than I did. I was like, she's an artificer, changeling, no memories.
Yep.
So anyways, speaking of chaos, would you like to up the chaos level just a little bit more?
By like 1/3?
By like
actually, it's got me like twice, let's be honest.
Like, kapow! For chaos!
So speaking of chaos,
time
zones are a thing. And also I believe we started this show a little early. Bye!
This actually weirdly started almost a little late. So you're fine.
True. Yeah.
Okay. But y'all started at 7 your time instead of 8, right?
6 my time. But yeah.
Gosh.
Oh yeah. We started. Yes.
I'm so late. Okay. Well, I'm here now.
Just saying. Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Hey Kitty. We are talking about chaos. Like,
yeah, we're
talking about chaos.
Chaos.
And look, speak the devil's name and she shall appear. Y'all are great. I'm loving the comments about characters and the various states of chaos. I'm glad your character evolved the way it did, Reverend Tommy. And it's like, yeah, chaos. Oh, Sir David Percival had one character replace a god. Oh, you guys.
Whoa.
And you're right, Reverend Tommy. Nobody does very little changeling. You're changing. She just happened to be a changeling. And I actually did. I got to touch on this because I was thinking about this. I did subtle changes every week.
Oh.
Now everybody has to go back and like watch.
And like her first interaction with them, she was very pale, very white, very washed out, like very two-dimensional with the party. And as she interacted with the party, she took on a younger appearance because of the way how saucy Jack's character was. And then after the first adventure, she started to kind of look more matronly because she started to remember that she was a mother. And it's subtle. It's subtle, but it is there. She is changing. Her outward appearance kind of changed a little bit, but I never really used it as a thing for the game.
I kind of like that though. I like poetic metaphor.
I think about these things. I'm a
So the question is basically that was asked like a half an hour ago and we're still answering. Is how do you come up with your chaos aligned characters?
Kitty.
Those are very natural for me. It takes me more thought and effort to develop characters that are of the other alignments than for chaotic characters, because I think I'm just a pretty chaotic person in general. Let's see. Well, we all know that the eyeball change was not subtle. Are you referring to Iziri? I guess so.
We were talking about Iziri Beef Muffin the other day.
Yay, I love her. She was one of the more responsible characters.
Yeah, she really was. Who popped an eye out of a demon and then ate it. And yeah.
Well, I guess except for that part, she's more responsible within the party, but as far as battle goes, she was pretty like rah. But yeah, she did eat a demon eyeball.
She held up a piece of paper and said, "You want to sign this?" She held it up in his face and then stabbed him in the eye through the paper. And then pulled out the pen.
That's just genius.
And his eye was there. And then ate it. And then
when you're trying to intimidate / deal with a demon, you got to go all out. You got to let them know you're not messing around.
I mean, that's certainly true. If you are dealing with an entity or a situation that's already not playing by rules, why are you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Yeah. Paul's face when I did that was like, oh, you are going to face consequences. Well, I guess that was his second Consequences is one of my favorite parts of chaos in D&D. Not in real life. Not in real life, but in D&D, the consequences of the chaotic stuff you do adds for some really great story.
Yeah. Again, it's the safe space.
It's where the awesome lives.
Yeah. I'm going to write a book called Chaos and Consequences.
Is that our new tagline?
Yeah.
All right. You're gonna write. I'm all for a Kitty Chaos book.
Yeah, Chaos and Consequences. I think that's pretty fitting. Yeah.
I like it. We'll I think we need to get a ghost writer among us, and then just sit them in the room with you, and then have you go, and then this other thing, and then this time, and then they're like.
And then
I tied a blue ribbon around the sleeping Scotsman's penis, and then
you missed that story.
What? I heard something about a penis.
But you're gonna have to go back and watch.
Okay, I will.
What was the most chaotic thing you've ever done, Kitty?
Me?
Yes.
Oh God. Something immediately comes to mind because I remember the last time I told this story, I was at a tea party with all ladies, and it was one of those times when you tell a story and you think people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's so wild! Oh my God!" But instead, they were all like, "Oh, well, okay, you did that." So
all right,
that kind of makes
my ears are primed, ready to go. Bring it.
It really makes me not want to tell this story because it might make people think differently of me. But
I told a
if
story
they
where
survive mad story, they'll be fine.
all right, so this was a different time in my life and in all of our lives.
That's what I said.
I was living in a very punk rock household, and I was living a very punk rock lifestyle. And we got this new roommate who called herself Tranny Tess. Now, I know these days the word tranny is not something that people like to hear, but and I'm going to stop saying it after this, but that is what she called herself. And this girl was out the box. She was in our lives for 1 week and then she disappeared like she never existed except for all the stuff she left behind. So we had a roommate move out. She moved into their room and the first day that she was there, we went to the bar and started to get to know each other. I saw her penis on day 1 because she liked to show it off. And she started this tradition of waking us, mainly me, up every morning with a can of Steel Reserve and being like, let's go. And so it was like
that's a beer for those of you who are not familiar.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't just call it a beer. It was like malt beer, liquor,
malt beverage.
Malt beverage. It's gross. Don't drink it. That's like a headache. It's asking for a headache.
Yeah.
But it's cheap, and poor punk rock kids drink a lot of it. You think PBR is the beer of punk rock kids? No, it's Steel Reserve and oldie and garbage like that. So this one night in particular, right. And so at the time we had these 2 kids from, I believe, Sweden who were crashing at our place, and they were really cool. So we're all hanging out in the kitchen and doing our various types of drinking. And somehow it was, this thing was in the news where apparently adults thought that the kids were filling up tampons with vodka and sticking them in themselves to get drunk.
Yeah, and I've heard that.
And so that was like a thing that was in the news, and everybody's like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, the Swedish kids were like, yeah, that's ridiculous. That's not even how you do it. You have to put the tampon in there first. Otherwise, you can't get it in. It's just going to be all soggy. And we're talking about in the B hole, right? Because not everybody has the other hole to receive a tampon. So, and God, I wouldn't want to put liquor in there anyway. That's horrible. Yeah. So the next thing that happened was I was like, I've got tampons. And Tess was like, I've got a syringe we can use, but we don't have any liquor. All we have is Four Loko. So we did what we did with the tampons. We filled the syringes with Four Loko, and we took turns administering the Four Loko to one another. And it was insane. And I think that's probably one of the most chaotic things I've ever done.
Four Loko?
Four Loko, that's right. You know about Four Loko, right? Yeah, kids, don't try this at home. I would never do this now. Well, I don't want to say that.
No, you never do this at home.
Probably, absolutely would never.
I think
that's right. Go to a friend's house.
Okay, yeah. So this has definitely been one of the more colorful AMAs. You guys did want chaos.
I feel like Paulo's gonna hear that I told this story and I'm gonna be like, all right, we better not put Kitty in the AMAs anymore.
Oh, again, they survived Bab's story. I'm the only one who gets to stay.
Yeah, right. So Sir David Percival wrote the alcoholic energy drink. That's what Four Loko is. Yeah. So in case you don't know, Four Loko, I think they still sell it now, but I don't remember how long ago it was. At one point they changed the formula so that it wasn't as, I don't know, full of amphetamines or something. But yeah, so the Four Loko you get now is not the same Four Loko from once upon a time, but it is energy drink plus alcohol, and it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, that's like Red Bull and vodka. That's basically,
Yeah, which is I guess the new version.
but now
Yeah.
Four Loko is the.
Was that sufficiently chaotic?
Oh, heck yeah.
Had I known where y'all were gonna set the bar, I would not have gone first. Oh no. Absolutely.
see,
I'm
you
not
have to
sharing
ease
any of
them
my
into
stories
it.
that reach that bar. Yeah.
Got to
I'm
ease
a
them
good
into it.
girl. Hey, guess what? This is the first time that we've all been together.
Oh,
Ever?
wow.
Magic carpet rides.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aw.
I know. Sweet. Remember that
So-
time Kitty kissed me?
Yeah.
Remember that time that
That was sweet.
we killed you
Oh,
so that you could end up in
Yeah,
another
so that I
body?
could be a giant. Yeah.
that was
Good times. Technically, yeah. I always tell May, I'm like, I haven't forgiven you.
a lot of stuff happened in that campaign. I
Speaking
wanna
of
go, like,
chaotic.
revisit it.
That was a good.
That
I mean, that
campaign
was
was
probably one of the most
All over the place.
chaotic.
Did we have
campaigns.
like a theme for that one? Was that all the like all monsters or something? I don't
No,
know.
it was
No.
we went
was
back to
the,
the Isle of Cecil.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
it
That's right. That's right.
Ended up being it just the
It
way
was-
our show happened. It kept happening on holidays. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Mardi Gras.
Now it's because first we had Taco Tuesday and it rained tacos. Then it was on Mardi Gras, so then we had the Queen of May who came and
Yeah.
stabbed me. What's the other one? You
So-
remember? But yeah, there was just a lot of whack.
Yeah. Very
And that
fun.
was one
It was very
where
fun.
Merkitty.
Mer Kitty.
What is your mermaid?
Echo.
Like a Mer Kitty.
Yeah, the mermaid kitty character.
Mercury is my next mermaid character.
That was the
So-
one where like every single other character that was in the campaign that wasn't Naiven was like naked.
Well, that was definitely me. That was a loon. I don't like wearing clothes on a good day.
I'm dressed.
Were
for
there
you.
other questions that for the AMA that I didn't
there was
answer
one
yet?
other
Oh,
from
there's one
Ellen.
just for you, I think. Although I
Oh.
was going to answer it also.
Well, I'm sure we can all answer it.
I got it. Hang on.
Scrolling,
Who
scrolling.
sont los? Oh, my French is terrible, my friends.
Où sont los
Neige
Negitantans?
d'antan.
That's from
We
Carrot Chapel.
Can you
Right.
write it in the chat for me?
Okay, so
Yeah.
it means where are all the snows of yesteryear? Because it's from a poem.
Oh,
Yeah. And yeah, that was from
Carrot Chapel.
Para Chapel.
Who declared us demonetized?
I
I just entered it into the chat.
tried not to use any bad words. I
I'm
think
also
beehole was maybe the worst word. Well, there was that other word, but it was from a different
Right, but
time.
it was prefaced.
Okay, so where are all the snows of yesteryear? Ah, I see. Okay.
It's from
Your mom's butt?
Now you mean your mom's beehole?
I mean beehole.
Have you checked your butt?
Sorry, that wasn't
seen that video.
that wasn't specifically directed at anyone's mom in particular. I've just been on a kick of saying your mom for everything and like endlessly entertained by kind of like you know how Michael Scott feels about That's What She Said?
Yes.
For lately, that's how I feel about your mom.
Okay.
It's 12 and I love it.
Uh-huh. It's true.
2 minutes and 40 seconds of have you checked your butthole? Do you need to see this video now or should I paste it in the Discord?
What? Oh, is it the little girl singing?
No, it's this
No.
guy. He's like, have you checked your butthole? Get up. bit up, butthole.
Do you know the little
Beautiful
girl that I'm
song.
talking about?
No,
She
but
sang,
I'm sure she's definitely
I
influenced.
wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's
Also a good
inside
song.
your butthole. Maybe it's an astronaut. Maybe it's a something. I can't remember it all. But she's also playing guitar while she's singing, and she's like 6.
The future Kitty Chaos.
Is it good?
She's real
Quality?
good. It's the most adorable thing in the world. Yeah, like that girl has definitely grown up to have a music career. Like she's clearly on her path.
Lovely.
Have you checked your butthole? Get up. Sorry. Great
I
song.
can't wait to report that the AMA was mostly about buttholes. Great.
Buttholes and chaos.
And blue ribbons.
And well, there was just that one chunk about
Just the
blue
one
ribbon.
time. Yeah.
And if I find that photo, I will post it on our Discord chat. Patreons only. Lawsuit pending. All right. Anyone have any questions or things that you would like to share?
Wait, we haven't answered about the snows of yesteryear.
Oh, I thought that was in your butthole.
Oh wait,
No.
Kara said, personally, snow could only improve my mom's beehole.
Ouch.
Is your mom a little hot-butted?
Hot-butted.
Hot-headed, but with your butt?
Hot-butted.
Check it and see.
Yeah, this is where we are. Yeah.
Wow. Go us.
I was actually gonna, get all kind of smart and talk about the arrow of time. But go on. Let's talk about buttholes.
We can talk about anything.
I kind of like this swing. This chaos being the theme, I kind of like just swinging randomly from singing about buttholes to talking about the arrow of time.
They gave us a lot of room to work with by making chaos the theme. Like we could do anything. I could stick this up my nose if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. It's glitter paint.
Ooh. I'm like, I got cowbell.
Gotta have some of that.
I mean,
one might even say we need more of it. Is what
Some
one might say.
Some might say.
Not me. Oh, no, I would never say such a thing.
Never.
Okay, so on creating with the crew, I couldn't participate, but I was like on the chat for parts of it. There was a discussion about the Mid-Atlantic accent, and I started talking in the Mid-Atlantic accent all afternoon. I was like, let me tell you another thing. I have another diddly of a job that I've got to knock out today. I will tell you, Mr. Buster, sir, person, I've got a thing or two about that. But oh no, I am an eloquent lady, and I definitely keep my ducks all in a nice, tidy little neat row.
All right, I need you to make a promise. When we are in our caftans, in the champagne glass bath, in the Poconos, you can only speak to me with that accent.
Let me tell you a little story about life in the caftan, darling. You know you're absolutely glamorous. All right, Kitty.
It's difficult not to feel like you're talking about the most important thing in the world whenever you're doing that accent. There's just whatever you're talking about is obviously something you feel very passionate about. It's almost impossible to use this accent and not sound important.
Well, I mean, definitely, it does matter whether or not you do live on the Upper East Side or the Lower East West End. Of course, I would never presume.
Obviously, I never even dreamed of calling such place.
And now I want to bring back Mermab, the pyromaniac mermaid.
I love the pyromaniac mermaid. Obviously it's great contrast.
Fire, water, yeah. Makes sense.
She had a bit of a Mid-Atlantic, but it was more drawly. I wrote a poem.
It's a little more
southernish.
I wrote a poem about it. If you would like to hear it.
About the accent or about?
I like to set fires to things.
Oh, about fires.
Fire glows hot. Would you like to hear it again?
Mm-hmm.
Fire glows hot.
Very moved.
Beautiful.
That's true. Ayala's mom was funny. That was a very.
I love Ayala's mom. Oh, so this is chaotic. Here's my damn. So I'm obviously my filming area is also my craft area. I was trying to drill a hole through this so that I could put jewelry elements into it. It's this cute little heart. It came out really good, but then the drill fused to it. Like the plastic or the resin melted onto the drill bit. And so now I had the perfect size drill bit, and now it just exists like this now.
It's kind of
Well,
a
this is a metaphor.
Definitely.
All right. It is 8:00. I still haven't eaten dinner, so tell me your questions. Last call.
Let's call for
Make
alcohol
something up
that
if
you're
you don't
not
have a
putting
good one.
in your butthole.
I will say it has been a pleasure chatting with you ladies this evening.
I'm so sorry I was late, but hopefully I made up for it with chaos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the theme for tonight. So check.
It would have been wrong if I had been on time because that would be too orderly.
Right? That would have been orderly. Yeah. Yeah, no.
All
Do
right.
we have any questions?
Any other questions? I will see if I can find any incriminating photos and put them on the internet for your sick perverse pleasure.
Yeah.
And we will see you next month, or we got
We
shows all
do these
week.
Every month-ish. And
Yeah.
some of us are here.
But we'll see you on the other shows before then.
Yeah. You know the schedule. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. There's a song somewhere that says, "Thanks for tuning in." Good night. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Here we go.